Hello students and welcome to the lecture. So students, as we know that we are covering the financial system, and basically in the previous lecture we had started a new topic which we called as a payment and the settlement system. Okay, what do we mean by it? How does it proceed? We have discussed, we have discussed the two ways of the payment, like the direct payment mode, okay, in which we had discussed that it was in a cash dealing, right? We had discussed indirect payment mode, okay, in which there was no cash, only online transactions are there, right? That's what we had discussed, okay. Thereafter, these were the topics which we have scheduled for the discussion. Like, first we have the introduction part, thereafter we have the national electronic fund transfer, then the immediate payment system or the service, basically real-time gross settlements, unified payment interface, and then the conclusion. Okay, so basically these were the topics which we have to discuss. Out of them, basically we have done with the introduction. Okay, thereafter we were discussing the national electronic fund transfer, and the topics we are left with is the immediate payment system or the immediate payment service, real-time gross settlement, unified payment interface, and the conclusion. Okay, so this is what we had, you can say, created so far together. But before this, or you can say before proceed further, let me ask you a one single question. Like, what is the legal mandate through which the payment and settlement systems are governed by the RBMI in India? Sorry, RBI, sorry. Okay, for this you have only 10 seconds to think, then I will tell you the answer. So your time starts now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Time's up. So basically, if we talk about that particular legal mandate, so that was Payment and Settlement Act 2007. Payment and Settlement Act 2007. Okay, this is the legal mandate by virtue of which the Reserve Bank of India governs the, you can say, payment and settlement system. Okay, so this is the essentials we had discussed in the National Electronic Fund Transfer in the previous lecture, like the name of the beneficiary, branch name, bank name, account type, account number, branch IFSC code. Okay, so how many digits the IFSC code holds? 11 digits, right? That's what we had discussed. Okay, we had also discussed like who is the benefactor and who is the beneficiary. Okay, so if we go by this, the benefactor is the sender and the beneficiary is the receiver. Okay, that's what we had discussed. Thereafter, if we talk about the account number, okay, so what do you mean by the account number? What is the meaning of account number? Okay, so basically account number is the number provided to account holder as identification of his account. All right. For example, suppose this is the bank called the XYZ. Okay. In the XYZ, there are 5 people. Okay. Like Mr. X, Mr. X, Mr. X, Mr. X, and Mr. X. All of these names, or you can say all of these people having the common name Mr. X, Mr. X, Mr. X, and Mr. X. Okay, this is the situation. So if we put this situation in the reality, beneficiary name Mr. X, branch, they all are in the same branch of Karol Bagh, for example. Okay. Thereafter, bank name. So Karol Bagh branch belongs to which bank? State Bank of India, right? SBI. All right. Account type. Suppose they all having the common type of account, current account. Okay. Thereafter, branch IFSC code. If we're talking about the Karol branch, the bank is State Bank of India. So IFSC code will be same for everyone. So if this is your situation, okay, and here is you, Mr. Y. All right. Now, you are required to make payment Mr. X. Which Mr. X? This Mr. X. Okay. But you have got a situation that the bank in which you are required to send the money is having 5 customers with name of Mr. X. In its branch, Karol Bagh, the bank is State Bank of India. So accounts is current account and the IFSC code is same for all. So how does the bank will identify that about whom, or you can say about whom Mr. X you are talking? Okay, so this is basically done by account number. Here the account numbers comes in the picture. Okay, because the account number will be unique to all account holder with XYZ bank. So if we go by this definition, then his number will be unique. So does these numbers will also. Okay. So when you put the account number, which is a unique number, the XYZ will identify that you are talking about this Mr. X. All right. So that's how the account number works. Okay. Now, the next question is that how many digits are in account number? Okay. How many digits are in the account number? Like in the IFSC code we had discussed, there are 7 digits. So how many digits are in the account number? So basically, if we go by this question, then the account number having the different criteria for the private banks and the public banks. Okay. The private banks usually having 12 or 40 digits in account number, right? Whereas the public banks always having, you can say 11 characters or digits in account number. Okay, so that's how the account number works. When we talk about the private banks, usually they're having 12 to 40 digits in the account number, whereas the public banks always having 11 characters or digits in account number. Okay, so by seeing the digit itself, you could identify whether it's a private bank or the public bank. So after this, now we having the procedure of the NEFT, like how the NEFT works. So the first is initiation of the transfer. Okay, like how does the process of transfer starts? First is the sender's detail. The sender initiates an NEFT transaction by providing their details such as name, account number, and the IFSC code of their bank branch. Okay, so if we talk about the example which we had taken in the previous lecture about me and you, I am the seller of sugarcane rus. You are the consumer of that particular rus. Okay, as per the example, you had consumed the juice, or you can say rus, which you had bought from me. So right now I am the receiver and you are the sender. Okay, because you are supposed to pay me. So sender's details means that now what you will do, you will first provide your details like your name. Okay, thereafter your account number, then your IFSC code of your bank branch. Okay, these are your details which you are required to fill while initiating the NEFT transfer. Okay, next is recipient details. The sender also provides the recipient details including name, account number, and the IFSC code of the recipient bank branch. For example, you can say, suppose if we're talking about the NEFT process, okay, like this one. So here is you, sender, here is me, receiver. Okay, so first you are required to pay the details like name, like bank, like account type, like IFSC. Okay, on the other side, you require to fill the same details like the name, like the bank, like the account type, okay, like the IFSC code. Okay, so this is the basic details required for the initiation of the NEFT transfer process. Okay, thereafter, validation by the sending bank. Account verification. The sending bank verifies if the sender account has sufficient funds to complete the transfer. The sending bank checks if the transaction amount falls within the permissible limit set by the RBMI. Alright, so basically if we go by this, so here we have the concept of sending bank, right? So what do you mean by the sending bank? Basically, in which sender having an account. Okay, for example, if the XYZ is a bank in which you, because now you are the sender, you having the account. So this will be called as a sender's account or sender's bank. So first thing, they will validate the balance. Okay, like the amount which you have filled to transfer, is that amount present in your bank account or not? Okay, for example, suppose if you have filled rupees 10 but your account only contain rupees 2, so what is happening here? It is insufficient balance. Got it? It is insufficient balance. So when this kind of situation happens, the senders bank denies the transaction because your account does not having the require you can say amount. But this case is in the savings account only. Okay, because saving accounts could only proceed that much of amount which is present in your account. Okay, the condition when the feeding amount crosses the available amount in your bank account, so the process will be denied. But when we talk about the another case which is known as the which type? Current account. So when we talk about the current account, this situation will not happen. Okay, so if you only having rupees 2 in your bank account but you are processing rupees 10, the process will be done and the additional, or you can say additional amount which will be debited from your account will be known as the overdraft facility. All right, so that's how the situation works. Second is the permissible limit. It means that how much amount you could proceed. So remember, there is no minimum and maximum limit. In NEFT, there is no minimum and the maximum limit for the transaction. But in case of cash transfer, then only up to 50K could we proceed in single time. All right, so remember this. When you are just doing the transaction digitally or electronically, okay, you are not required to mention any minimum and the maximum limit. But when you are converting your cash and then you are transfer the money, then only rupees 50K or the 50,000 you could be only proceeded in one single time. Okay, so that's how the senders bank validate the process. Now, message creation, UTR, also known as unique transaction reference or the UTR. All right, a unique UTR is generated for each NEFT transaction which helps the tracking the transaction status. Okay, for example, suppose this is me, seller or receiver. All right, this is you, sender or buyer. All right, so how much amount you are sending to me? Rupees 10. But the question is, if I have sold out 100 units at rupees 10, it means that rupees thousands I will be getting. Okay, so out of these 100 units, 75 units were at online. So rupees 750 I have received online. All right, and it means that these 75 customers paying me online. Among 75, you are the one. Okay, so what if you are claiming that you have paid me rupees 10? Okay, you have paid me rupees 10. But I am asking you, prove it that you have paid me rupees 10. So how you will do it? At that place, the unique transaction reference or the UTR comes in the picture. Okay, for each transaction, or you can say for each 75 transactions, UTR or the unique transaction reference will be made. This is an alpha numerical reference. Okay, so whenever you make the payment online, or you can say whatever condition you have, either you are receiving or sending, okay, always you will get a UTR or the unique transaction reference, okay, which is in the form of alphanumerical. So when I will ask you, show me that you have paid me rupees 10, you will show me the UTR. The same UTR will be reflected in your account and will be reflected in my account. By checking the UTR, I will find out that whether these rupees 10 have been sent out by you or not. So remember, that's how the UTR works, and it is in the form of alphanumerical. Okay. The sending bank creates a message containing transaction details, including the amount to be transferred and the recipient's bank details. Okay. So whenever you have received, you can say money from someone through online process, so every time you will get a message that your account credited with this amount via this and that. Okay. So these are known as the transaction details. The same thing reflects on the sender's surface also. Like your account has been debited for this much account for this particular account. Okay. Thereafter, now we have the procedure of the NEFT. First is the transfer to the RBI's NEFT system. Okay. It is known as the batch processing. So what do you mean by the batch processing? Let's understand by reading first. NEFT system collects all transaction messages from various banks and processes them in batches. Batches are settled at the specific intervals such as hourly settlements during working hours and half-hourly settlements during the evening. Okay. So basically, if we look at this one, batches are settled at the specific intervals such as hourly settlements during working hours and half-hourly settlements during the evenings. Okay, so if we talk about this, then batch processing means aggregating the transactions in one single unit during a specific time intervals. Okay, for example, suppose for 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1. Okay, there are 15 transactions, there is 20 transactions. Okay, there is 10 transactions. All right, the total amount is 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs, 2 lakhs. Okay, so this is the batch processing. So you could see that there are different transactions. Okay, let me write down again in a clear sense. 15, 20 and 10. So if you look at this picture, 15 transaction, 20 transaction, 10 transaction, and then when you look at the denomination, 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs, 20 lakhs, this is the denominations. Got it? So you could say that these are basically proceeded under the fixed batches. Okay, all these 15 transactions will be you can say aggregated, and the same denomination will be proceeded in time period between 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Thereafter, 20 transactions will be aggregated. 6 lakh denomination will be proceeded from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Thereafter, 10 transactions of 2 lakh denomination will be proceeded from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Okay, so this is called the batch processing. Here we have taken an example of hourly batch process. Okay, but there could be examples of half hourly also. Okay, like 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m., 11 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. That's all. Okay, so this is called the batch processing. So remember, the NEFT always uses the batches. When the office of the bank is in the working hours, the batches will be of hourly settlements. Okay, but during the evening times when the transaction working hours are off, they are oftenly in the half hourly sense. Okay, now we have the transfer to the receiving bank, interbank communication. The NEFT system communicates with the recipient's bank to transfer the funds electronically. The NEFT system transferred the funds from the sender's bank to the recipient banks, ensuring the current amount is credited to the recipient banks. Okay, so let's understand this through an example. This is the XYZ. All right. This is ABC. All right. This is the sender's bank. This is the receiver's bank. Okay. So what is happening? When the sender will initiate the process, the XYZ will communicate to the ABC. Okay. Will provided the IFSC, account number, name, amount, it's account number, account type. Okay, all of these details which have been shared by the sender's bank or the sender's side will be transferred to the receiver banks by the sender's bank. Then the receiver bank will proceed it, the name, account number, IFSC code, amount and the account type, and then this amount will be credited into the account of beneficiary. Okay, so that's how the system works, or you can say that's how the funds transfers. Okay, thereafter the real-time credit. Upon receiving the funds, the recipient banks credits the amount to the beneficiary accounts in the real time. Okay, like when the sender bank initiates the process. Suppose right now you are sending me rupees 25,000. So when this process will start it, okay, it will be debit from sender's bank, and once it debited from the sender's bank, at the same time, or you can say within a few time, it will be reflected or credit to receiver's bank. Okay, so that's why we call it as a real-time credit. Okay. Notification. The recipient receive a notification such as an SMS or the email confirming the credit to their account. Okay, like whenever you have received some money online from somewhere, you will always get a notification through SMS or the email that your account has been credited for this and that. Same thing for the debit also. Like whenever you have you can say send some amount to someone, you will get a debited notice. Okay, so students, basically this lecture we have covered till now. In the next lecture, we will proceed further. Okay, or you can say we will continue from here. Till then, just remember all the facts and figures we have discussed in this lecture. Be ready for the another lecture. With this note, let's end this lecture, and what we say, thank you.